And but yes, this is a very architectural urban intervention in which we have managed to include very different sectors, very different areas, very different kind of people, because we believe that we need every kind of people to make this world go round. So yeah, that's the story of this place. It's very simple. We are interested in people in general, and in getting to know each other and in getting to know very deeply into our relationships. So it's all about also not just having people because they're cool, but actually becoming friends with them. So that's what we've been doing for 5 years now.
So Blivande is many different things. Amongst other, it's a venue for events. It is a community of people and professionals. It is an innovation hub where we apply for innovation projects around social interventions. It is a co-working space and an atelier for artists, and also a place where people can put containers to have their small businesses here. So we're trying to create a platform where people can make kind of a dream a reality.
Well, it started because, well, these coincidences of life. Uh, I had a personal dream to have to work in a place where I'm surrounded by people that inspire me. So it was a very selfish thing, like I don't want to work alone. I want to be with people. So then I was like, I'm very interested to have a place where I can create prototypes as well, and also learn from other people and teach other people, share my ideas with other people, because I'm very interested in this idea of how far we can go if we row the boat together. And that's how it started. Like when we were looking for a place to grow the community, we were looking also for a place where we can have a maker space and an office space, and that was the part that I was very interested in. And yeah, then everything scaled up and keeps on scaling up, and that's long story short, I guess.
I can maybe say something about the beginnings of the container square.
Yes.
Apart from intention, there was also a lot of chance and taking the opportunity when it comes to. It's also a blessing in disguise. Saying yes to things can be good and bad. We're really good at saying yes and making the project more complex. We're learning to be more focused nowadays. But this entire container square was an opportunity because the harbor was celebrating 100 years, this area. So the city of Stockholm wanted a creative actor, and there was not many creative actors. There was nothing at all here in the area 5 years ago. They wanted to have a place for people to gather that looks interesting and creative. Knowing that there was a community that resembles this in Denmark, we suggested to the harbor to bring in 5 containers or 7 containers and make sure that they have an area that they can use for this one event under the condition that we can keep it for a year. So we got a contract, and it was extended 1 year after 1 year after 1 year, until we now have a 3-year contract that can be renovated. We also had to grow up in the entire process. From it being more punky and not needing a building permit, we now have a building permit and we need to comply to more regulations. The reason why we didn't have one in the beginning is because it's not forbidden to have containers in a container square, of course, but then if we start to stack them and build balconies, then it does become a building project that needs safety measurements and regulations. So it's been a journey of saying yes, but also having to grow up into the responsibility that entails. I would say that we wouldn't exist if the city wouldn't want us to exist. It is always a big challenge to get a project of this magnitude financed until it stabilizes itself. We can bring in, if you do a couple of shots later, we can bring in more than around like 60 containers more into this area. That's according to the building permit that we have. If we have 60 containers more, there's also 60 containers paying rent for the area, which then finances the community management. But how do we finance the in-between phase where we have maybe 30, 40 containers, but still need the work to be done and systems to be put into place? But I would say that we wouldn't exist without actually like a blessing from Stockholm Stad, because we were the first project of this type. And now there's conversations in the making of us being the ones taking care of this gym hall together with the Stockholm circus community and different circus organizations. But it would be a different project. Stockholm Stad financed the tent that you see here, because it wasn't possible for us to book bigger artists or in general like plan anything without a roof, a real roof in summer. So they contributed with the professional tent, and yeah, over time we can ask for also a contribution, but we also then need to deliver cultural public programs, etc. We're not so different. What we do have is we have the freedom and the flexibility to adapt without having to ask for permission, but we also pay for it. So that's kind of like why it's so hard to finance. It's because we are paying for the absolute freedom to be able to take flexible decisions and do what we want, compared to institutions and places that are owned by Stockholm. And it's not to be said that there is not a point in time where Blivande could be taken over by Stockholm Stad if any of us gets tired, or if we build it up, if the container square is built up, and you know, it could be a future, one of the potential futures. But right now it's really the freedom. We really like complexity, and it's not that easy. Because if you have a system that is semi-permeable, and this is what we are, you have to constantly redefine the boundaries, and everyone is so different. Everyone's perception of what socially is okay is so different. There's the saying that like communities die in kitchens because everyone has different tolerance level on kitchens. And it's the same if you share space. I mean, some people would agree that the square is kind of fine right now. Other people would say it's terrible. So we are always trying to find a balance, so there's no answer. I think they trust us more, because over time we haven't failed them. We have delivered the application reports, we have grown the visitor numbers over the summer season in the public events. The square is like visibly growing, so they see a difference. It's very tangible. When we only had this area and the outside area wasn't there, it was really hard to feel what it could be. But since we have the outside area, people understand like, okay, if more things happen here, it's going to be a very interesting place. The same is with the bakery, for example. A bakery is a game changer in the perception of people, because people love bakeries, and having them here really makes people understand, oh, this is a place to be. It's also from an placemaking perspective, people are not very likely to stay in a place if they can't buy anything, which is very strange because, but apparently the only places that are accepted in that regard are parks. Otherwise it's really hard. Some things need to be, you need to feel that you have the right to be there because you bought your coffee. So that's a lot of understanding people and how they work.